Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Good Morning Soul. Today I'm dusting off another relic from my gaming pass, and today that game is a little title called Brutal Legend, a 2009 game. Which, where to even begin with Brutal Legend? I first played this game as a rental, and I completely beat the whole thing in like a day or two. And then I went back and played it around the same time as I played Bayonetta and all those games. Um, it's a super fun game. It's about a guy who is a roadie. He is obsessed with heavy metal, and he just so happens to get transported away from the shitty metal of today and gets transported to some kind of demon metal world where there's giant, like, the entire scenery of this game I was best explained to me as like every heavy metal uh album cover. Like, that is the landscape for this entire game. You just cruising from one heavy metal album to the next. And not only do you have powers such as beating people with a giant axe, you have a guitar that can shoot lightning and do other things like literally melting the faces off of your enemies. On top of this, you get a car that you use to traverse this giant open world. I say giant, I don't actually remember how big it was. And you are trapped in a story where you and a gang of misfits are trying to take on this heavy metal enslavement that has plagued this kingdom. Like this demon lord and his minions. And not only that, there are heavy metal, or not even heavy metal, just musical acts who are voicing, cameoing, and just popping up everywhere throughout this game. You got Lemmy from Motorhead. He's just a character in this. You got Ozzy Osbourne. He is the guardian of metal. Literally, you just show up to buy some things in this little area, and he just shows up. He's like, "You look fucking terrible." It's fucking hilarious. That's one of the best parts of this game, is talking to Ozzy Osbourne. David Bowie's in there. There's a lot of guys. In all honesty, obviously, if you are familiar with me, you know my genre of choice is not classic metal. I'm, if anything, very surface level when it comes to all that shit. So, in that regard, hell no, I'm not appreciating this game as much as I would a lot of other people. That being said, though, there is a lot to this game besides that. Obviously, I'm familiar with a good amount of these people, though. I appreciated their presence as celebrities, not so much as my personal favorite musicians. But there is a lot of other shit to this game. The first half of the game, there's a lot of hacking and slashing, going on missions. You're basically assembling an army to take on this demon lord guy. And along the way, you lose like a couple of your comrades. Very touching stuff. You fight these big generals. You take on these big missions, and then slowly but surely, once you have your army, the game suddenly becomes like a real-time strategy game where you're like, send metalheads, you go there, or what are they called? Headbangers. You go there. You're like sending your troops to do such and such, taking out enemy bases. And it's actually super fun, but unlike other real-time strategy games, you actually can get in there and help win the battle. Like, you're basically flying above on your giant demon wings, just being like pointing out how to do everything, and you can actually just drop down and fuck shit up. It's pretty great. There's a lot of little side things. There's collectibles. I remember you had this racing mini game, couple mini games in there. I do remember, like, once I beat the game, I was like, damn, like, I want to keep playing, but there's not a whole lot to do. And I knew the second I stopped playing, like, it was one of those times where it's like, the second I stop playing, I know I'm probably never going to play this game again. And I've yet to play it since then. Ugh, God, and that was years ago. It's a very fun game, though. The combat, the story, it's all great. I really like, there's a romance in here where, despite all this weird shit, the story, like the meat of it, is based on just this cool ass story that Tim Schafer made. And I know Tim Schafer is a famous gaming guy. He made a lot of old games that I haven't played. But this game has a lot of love. I didn't even mention Jack Black is the voice of Eddie Riggs, who's an awesome main character. You could tell how much fun this motherfucker's having. And Eddie's facial animations, like, really, like, it's like they knew Jack Black was gonna be voicing him. Well, I guess they did. They animated him appropriately, and on top of that, like, there's this opening scene with him, which, by the way, Kyle Gass, his Tenacious D partner in crime, makes a cameo. But he has this whole opening bit. You could tell Jack Black loved this fucking game. He loved being a part of this project, and it feels more like a project than it is a game. Like, with how many elements went into the soundtrack, getting these voice actors, getting this really big appreciation for their favorite music and all these things. It's like, when am I gonna get something like this? When is they going to make, like, my music in a video game like this? Probably not for a really long time. But god damn it, I wish it wasn't so far away, because this game is so much fun. I do enjoy just fucking cruising around, just fucking up bad guys, because you'll just see hordes of them. The entire landscape of this place changes. Like, you're really getting a kind of a B-budget, like, Doomsday, a fantasy world, fight, take over the kingdom. But it's still that. You're still watching this entire kingdom change. And you're watching, like, all these characters. And the dialogue, despite all this, is just super fun. And you're just kind of making fun of everything around you the entire time. And the other characters aren't like, why are you acting so weird? They're kind of like, yeah, they're just going along with it. It's a super fun game. I do remember how much I enjoyed the characters and how much I enjoyed the story. And the real-time strategy didn't bother me as much as probably it did some people. I was having fun with it. Like, easy, simple strategy games are my jam. It's when you start getting into the super big PC games where I'm just kind of like, oh shit, I walked into something I shouldn't have walked in on. But shit like this, all good with me. I like the idea of you pretty much assembling a heavy metal army and taking on a demon faction. And along the way, really cool art. This game came out in 2009. For around that time, like, probably one of the best games of that year. I don't know how many games from 2009 I played, though. Anyway, those were my thoughts on Brutal Legend. It is a super fun game. I remember I gave it an 8 out of 10 and gave it the Soul Badge of Approval. So, let the history books show 8 out of 10. Soul Badge of Approval. I thought it was a great game. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Brutal Legend. I'll see you guys in the next That Game I Played. And until then, with that, I leave you.